Hey guys, welcome to this new video. It's gonna be a recap video and a summary about 2020. So 2020 has been crazy. I won't talk a lot about like the bad things that happen and everything. I think everyone knows that it won't be the purpose of the video. But I want to highlight some of the aspects and things that I think are important and that you should take into consideration to plan a better 2021 year. And I want to give you how was my 2020 year from the other side of the planet. As you may know, I live in Vietnam, in Ho Chi Minh City. Crazy city with a lot of opportunities. And here actually, it didn't turn out how it turns out in most of the countries in Europe, in America, everywhere. We were a little bit like lucky to have all the things happening quite well. And that's why I want to illustrate you how was my 2020 years and what you can learn from that and what you can implement nowadays to make also a good 2021 year for you. So I have my book here with few ideas I want to talk about. So first I want to talk about how was 2020 from Vietnam and from an expat perspective. Then I want to talk about and share more about the lesson I learned over this year from, again, the other side of the planet. Which solution I took that were smart, which other solution were not that smart and bring me kind of to some mistakes and some problem I had. I want to review those things so we'll even maybe pick some information for your journey. Then finally, I want to talk about the goals of 2021. So you will see from this learning and my 2020 year, what did I pick, what will I keep, and the other things I plan to erase and I want to focus on for 2021. And super important, stay until the end of the video because I'm going to show you how was my 31 of December in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. And you will see the crowd, you will see the people on the street going out, you will see the firework, people in bars, so you can see a little bit how was the life and how in Vietnam everyone celebrated this last day of the year and how everything went super smooth. So let's get started. So first, what about my perspective about Vietnam and how everything was handled here? So actually in Vietnam, we got the virus quite in the early stage right after Tet in 2020. So I guess it was about mid-February. So because of this, the government and the authorities took very proactive decisions. And right now, actually, everything is going very well. The economy is already starting very well in 2020. Of course, we were hit. So instead of doing like maybe 6% of growth or 7% in average we had during the last years, we got only like 3%, but which is not bad at all for this kind of year in kind of a big chaos and worldwide pandemic. So the lesson learned from that is that the emerging countries, maybe you will have a lot of assumption. I know some people, they would say that, yeah, in Vietnam, everything is messy, people won't take good decisions. And actually, you may be wrong because as we saw, actually, this is the opposite. In big countries like France, countries like the USA, maybe, the people who would say, oh, let's wait a little bit, let's not frustrate our citizens, let's wait to see how the virus is going to turn. Is it really a good virus, a bad virus, And finally, we ended up having in France, even still in Christmas this year, people had to stay at home, people had to cannot meet people for New Year Eve. And here in Vietnam, in total, for about a year, we had maybe less than a month of lockdown. So it means that during two weeks, we had to stay at home and to, minimize our going out. But it's like it's a month in a year. And in France and in other countries in Europe, it was, I guess, the opposite, right? You guys have only 1 month of freedom in a whole year. So I guess this is good lesson for some people who were maybe, skeptical about, how is the life in Southeast Asia? Why some expats decide to move there? Actually, now you have exactly the reality and what is everything going on here. So I guess even still from expat perspective is still a good lesson to learn that sometimes we have to take a proactive decision to move to different countries, to look for opportunities, to look for growth. But in the end, sometimes we are even more rewarded than just staying in our home, back in France, back in a very like tiny rural area. Sometimes it's better to take a plane ticket. Sometimes it's better to take this opportunity to move overseas, to have this opportunity of finding that job that may lead you after a few years to a way better life. So I think it's a good lesson you should keep in mind if you plan like this to move overseas. Just keep that sometimes just take this flight ticket, just take this decision, and I'm sure it will turn out that it will be maybe the best decision of your life. This, I think, here also show us like about the mobility and about how now we have to be flexible. I have some friends, like for instance, working for Airbus in Toulouse, and now Airbus, it was one of the biggest company in France, like worldwide exposure, like big sales, a lot of opportunities. And finally, it turns out that nowadays they have to fire people. And maybe people who had more flexible jobs, maybe working online, maybe being a writer, being a copywriter, being a designer, doing videos, those people turn out that they have more and more work. So I think nowadays, if you have a corporate job, if you look for, climbing the ladders in a big company, you should maybe keep in mind somehow that you can try something a little bit different. If you have a hobby, if you are doing some freelancing on the side that may generate some money, you should definitely involve more time into this kind of side business. And hopefully, maybe one day you can live fully with this side business and you can enjoy this new adventure and this new journey of being an entrepreneur. So definitely take into consideration those aspects, and I'm sure it will kind of diverse and enrich your journey and maybe lead again to something that will be way better after a few years. So what about the lesson I learned about this? So the first thing is that this year I dedicated 80% of my time on move to Asia. So only 20% of my time was put in my other businesses. And actually, I had a drop from about 10% of the income on my other businesses, which is finally not a lot, right? It's like you will divide the time that you invest in something by 5. So before you invest maybe 5 hours per day, 5 days per week, and it dropped to just you divide everything by 5. So let's say you just work 1 day per week on this, and you manage to maintain the income, and just you have the income that dropped for 10%. So it's a very good lesson, because it means that when you look for long-term objective and when you do the job properly about online business, then you will have business that can last months after months, and even a year, 2 years, 3 years, and even more. And actually, this is a very good lesson. It means that if you have a big idea and you want to do business online, always think long-term. It will take more time to achieve small goals, but it will be something that will be very sustainable. And if you want to take a year break and you don't want to work, you will still have some income generating from your online website, online videos, or anything you're going to implement. The two important things is, number one, automatization. That make me be able to have this business that is almost passive. And the number two is the SEO. So you're going to have a website that ranks on Google, and this website will generate months after months new visitors. And if you have a machine that is converting those visitors, you will be able to sell. So you can just be sleeping, you can be traveling, you can be focusing on something else. You will still have those visitors who are going to buy your product, and maybe a third party that's going to deliver the end product to the customer. So this is the important things you have to keep in mind if you want to do a sustainable and long-term online business. Now I want to talk a bit about 2021. So what's the key things I learned? The first thing is that I'm very happy to be in Vietnam nowadays. Again, I won't talk too much about this because I know for you guys it's hard in Europe or in the USA. But here in Vietnam, everything is going normal, And of course we have new cases sometimes, people coming from overseas, some people crossing the border illegally. But finally here we realize that it's a very good place to be. And this is what I want to keep for 2021. So mainly being based in Asia, mostly in Vietnam. And if we can travel, we try to travel overseas. maybe around, maybe in Europe. Let's see how things turns. But I want to stay in and kind of dedicating time in Vietnam. And I want more than that, to be able to provide this awareness to the people right now, the foreigners who are looking for solutions to move overseas, that are also considering other parts of the world as a place they could settle. You know, they could do business, they could grow, they could find more opportunities than in their hometown. This is something I want to keep, and I want to kind of keep as a leitmotif and something super important for 2021. Another important things I want to keep, and this is a lessons I achieve and I want to keep, is to be in the flow, to be, you know, in this kind of part when you know that you are very creative, that you are really bringing value, that what you are doing is meaningful. This is something I want to keep for 2021, and obviously Move to Asia may have more and more impacts and may have more and more people, like, you know, want to buy the product, like want to move overseas, want to create companies, want to invest in real estate in Asia. So definitely I'm super optimistic about Vietnam first, how Vietnam's gonna bring new opportunities for foreigners, and how as a foreigner, if you kind of want to take actions and willing to take action and willing to take risks, you can have way a better life moving overseas, investing overseas, creating a business that maybe you are dreaming about and you always postpone to the next year. You know, this is a time you should really think about this and really say, okay, this year, this is my year, and I want to do something different. You know, I want to change. I want to have, again, better impact, better life. And if obviously Move to Asia can help you to investigate the different opportunities, or really help you from A to Z to set up a plan, like implement the plan and make you come here, I would be very happy to meet you for a coffee and to discuss about how your transformation was and how happy you are now, like moving overseas. So this is my yearly summary. I hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you guys could also maybe reflect and took time to also make your own reflection about how was your year. Again, don't blame yourself, just being honest with yourself and just try to see the pro as well. I mean, there is always good things in any challenging moments. So if this year for you is a year that you think you don't really agree with how your government took action to solve this COVID stuff, the different struggle you had to face again because of other people, then I mean, now the world is very big, so you can still buy a flight ticket, implement different steps into your life, prepare everything as well very carefully, and rely on people that you trust and that can deliver you and that can help you through this journey, for instance, of moving overseas, opening a new business, make an investment overseas. And then I'm pretty sure if you take action now, you will have after a few months already the first benefits, the first kind of result from this little step that you will take today, and that will hopefully bring you to a better 2021 year and beyond. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope I will see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye bye.